When an entire football field goes completely silent in the middle of a high-intensity summer practice, you know something went terribly wrong. Whistles blew, helmets came off, and coaching staffs from two different NFL franchises met at the yard line to make a sudden, unprecedented decision. A full hour was wiped off the clock, drills were abruptly scrapped, and what was supposed to be a fiery collision turned into an emergency shutdown. Before we dive into the chaotic fallout and the massive roster questions shaking up both teams, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Think about the sheer intensity that usually defines these summer joint sessions. Two teams lining up in full pads, battling for roster spots, trash-talking on every rep, and trying to set a tone that will carry them into the regular season. But out on that field, the vibe shifted from fierce competition to absolute panic in a matter of minutes. When players start dropping on consecutive snaps and training staffs are sprinting back and forth across the turf, football takes a back seat. What unfolded was a stark reminder of how fragile a team's championship aspirations really are. New Orleans had already walked onto the field battered and bruised after going through a grueling joint practice earlier in the week against Dallas. By the time they lined up against the Los Angeles front line, their depth was already hanging by a thread. Then, the inevitable happened. Snap after snap, more bodies went down. 5 brand-new injuries piled up in record time, including starting center Cesar Ruiz and key interior piece John Ridgeway. At that point, what is a head coach supposed to do? Kellen Moore looked across his sideline, saw his offensive line disintegrating in real time, and had to make an executive call to protect his locker room from total catastrophe. The scheduled 2-minute drills were canceled instantly. Goal line reps vanished. The entire final hour was thrown in the trash. It is undeniably frustrating for players wanting live reps and fans hungry for action, but reps mean absolutely nothing if you have nobody left standing when September arrives. Yet, during the limited snaps that did take place, the Los Angeles defense looked like an absolute wrecking crew. From the very first whistle, the defensive front established complete control, swarming the backfield and collapsing the pocket around Tyler Shaw with relentless force. The timing of the opposing first-team offense was completely ruined before it could even get off the ground. Up front, Kobie Turner put on a masterclass in disruption, using his length to bat down passes at the line of scrimmage, while Braden Fiske tore through the interior for what would have been a devastating drive-ending sack. Even without key pieces on both sides, the defensive unit sent a clear and resounding message to the entire league. This young defensive line is hungry, violent, and capable of taking over a football game without warning. Meanwhile, on the offensive side of the ball, the dynamic duo of Matthew Stafford and Davante Adams was operating on an entirely different wavelength. It is no secret that whenever you bring in a superstar wide receiver, year one is always about finding comfort, learning the nuances of the playbook, and figuring out spacing. But entering their second year together in Sean McVey's system, their chemistry looks terrifyingly sharp. Even with Puka Nacua sidelined, nursing a knee issue, Adams stepped up and completely dominated the secondary. Every route was crisp, every release was explosive, and Stafford was delivering the football with pinpoint precision. For anyone across the league who dared to think Adams was slowing down with age, these practice sessions are painting a very different picture. When elite talent meets second-year mastery of an offensive scheme, defensive coordinators are going to have absolute nightmares trying to scheme wideouts, naturally grab the headlines. The real revelation of these joint practices has been taking place in the middle of the field. All offseason, analysts and fans have constantly debated who is going to emerge as the true third receiving weapon behind the top 2 targets. Sean McVey and his offensive staff seem to have a completely different blueprint in mind, and his name is Terrance Ferguson. Last season, Ferguson's rookie campaign flew somewhat under the radar, leading some observers to wonder how quickly he could truly assimilate into the passing game. But behind closed doors, the organization saw a young tight end absorbing an intricate playbook, mastering the finer points of route manipulation, and steadily building trust with Matthew Stafford. Now, that patience is paying off in massive dividends. Throughout these scrimmages, Ferguson has been virtually unguardable working between the numbers. Against Dallas last week, opposing defenders openly commented on the matchup problems he created, and he followed that right up by tearing through the intermediate zones during this abbreviated session. Beat reporters and coaches alike cannot stop praising his football intelligence and physical growth. McVey rarely goes out of his way to highlight a young player, unless they are truly delivering every single day in practice. The way the offense is being orchestrated right now, Ferguson is not just a rotational tight end. He is emerging as the legitimate third focal point of this passing machine. However, amidst all the positive momentum through the air, serious clouds of uncertainty continue to hover over the offensive line. The depth at offensive tackle is being pushed to its absolute breaking point, and the coaching staff is facing a critical crossroads before the season even officially kicks off. Rookie tackle Keegan Trost is currently working to get healthy after a frustrating setback, with the team holding out hope that he can return before the squad travel for their Week 1 matchup in Australia. But the immediate puzzle involves how the coaching staff will structure the depth chart behind their starters. While David Quessenberry has filled in on the left side during past absences, clarifying reports confirm that Quessenberry remains the primary backup on the left, while Trost is slated behind Warren McClendon on the right side. In an emergency, Quessenberry represents the proven swing option capable of sliding over across the entire front line. This depth dynamic becomes infinitely more urgent when you factor in the looming shadow surrounding Alaric Jackson. With strong possibilities of an extended suspension handed down under the league's personal conduct policy, the organization cannot afford to take a wait-and-see approach. If Jackson is forced to miss significant time to start the year, how the coaching staff manages the left tackle position will define the first half of the season. One compelling path on the table is sliding Warren McClendon over from the right side to anchor the blind side at left tackle. McClendon proved his mettle last year when stepping in for Rob Havenstein, displaying remarkable footwork, poise, and power against elite edge rushers. If the staff shifts McClendon to left tackle and inserts either Quessenberry or a healthy Trost into the starting right tackle slot, it could completely reshape the future of the offensive line. Think about the long-term ramifications of that move. If McClendon locks down the left tackle position and the line performs at an elite level, it gives the front office all the justification they need to hand McClendon a long-term contract extension while cleanly moving on from Jackson's off-field headaches and saving substantial cap space in the process. When a team can solve a major position dilemma from within while shedding unwanted distractions, it completely transforms a franchise's championship window. Then, there's the unresolved storyline that continues to linger in the background of every single practice. The ongoing, agonizing saga surrounding Aaron Donald. Fans across the nation are hanging onto every whisper, every report, and every passing comment about whether the legendary defender will strap on the pads for one more run. Sean McVey recently noted that Donald is slated to participate in a few more workouts and sessions before arriving at an absolute, final decision regarding his future. It is easy for fans to feel fatigued by the endless back-and-forth cycle of updates that do not deliver a final answer. We all want the certainty. We all want the signature on the contract and the sight of number 99 terrorizing opposing offensive guards once again. But when evaluating a generational superstar who has poured his heart, soul, and physical well-being into this game for a decade, you have to respect the weight of this choice. This is not a video game where a player simply toggles back onto the active roster. NFL season, chase another Super Bowl ring, and balance those demands against the precious time owed to his wife and young family. Whatever Donald ultimately decides, he has earned the right to dictate his own timeline on his own terms. The organization is patiently leaving the door wide open, and until that final gavel falls, the entire football world will be watching every single step of the process. From sudden practice cancellations and rising injury counts to breakout weapons and franchise-altering contract dilemmas, this summer has proven that nothing in the NFL ever stays quiet for long. The pieces are actively shifting across the chessboard, and how this roster navigates the injuries, position battles, and superstar decisions over the coming days will write the entire story of their upcoming campaign.